Okay, that said, welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'll stop recording for a moment just to see if I can have a better feel of who is in the room. If you want to share this with your contacts, your running group, your status, feel free to do that before we begin officially. But as we begin, we love to start with some sort of icebreakers. And if it's okay, if you can engage using the chat, I would love to just start with some of these icebreakers before we get on with today's session officially. A few questions. Let's go. Number one, how many of you have felt dissatisfied because someone who started running after you runs faster than you? Just put in the chat. If you are in that group, you felt like, just because someone started running like yesterday and the person runs faster than you now, and you felt dissatisfied. Uh, okay, I see some people laughing, but of course, we just want to know, put it in the chats just to have a feel. And I mean, no judgments here, just to know if everyone is feeling the same way and to give some pointers to our guest speaker today. Looking at the charts, ding, 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 everyone is laughing. Should I take that laugh as a yes? That's you. Okay, moving on a little bit again. How would you rate your running situation right now? So if you use from 1 to 5, how well will you rate your running condition right now? Like if I was your teacher and I was grading you, what will I be grading you based on your running condition right now? One, just getting started, you're not there, you feel like you're taking a break, you're just not there. Five is like, yeah, ready for the next big race. Like Yopstar. Okay. 2.58368. What a figure. That must be a mathematician. Okay. Great. 2.5 Fred. 2 Ebube. We're talking about 5 as the max. Your turn. That means you're ready to do an ultra. Two months ago, you were telling us ultra was calling you. So I see. Keep it up. Kosi Fields 4.5. Great. One last icebreaker before we start officially. Um, let's see. Hmm. If your running shoes could talk right now, what will they say about you? Let's see. If your running shoes could speak, if they could say something about you, what will they say about you? Mine will say, please wash me, because I don't wash my shoes. What will your shoes say? I'm curious to hear from you. Please just use the chat to say, just to share with us, if your running shoes could speak, what will they say about you right now? Looking at the chart, let's see if we find. Help me. They carry me go where I don't know. Wow, that's fantastic. Who is speaking? Ebube, is that you?
Not
Kosi, mine would say, bro, you're doing too much. Yopstar, they would wanna come back in their next life. Oh, that's sweet. That means you're taking care of them real good. Samsung, I guess that was you introduced yourself earlier as Deyotino, and you say yours will say, please have more shoes so you don't depend on one in order to ease the stress of having just one. Super, great. Okay, interesting. And with that, I want to say again, welcome everyone to July edition of Beyond Run. Beyond Running is a series that a few runners just put together, and the aim is simply to say that you, as a runner, can run better. You can do beyond running. You can live a healthier lifestyle. You can eat better, everything you need to know to be a better runner. That's what we bring on different series, and it happens every third Friday of the month. And we're very excited to have been doing this since early this year and stayed consistent. I see some of our speakers from the previous editions also here. Thanks for joining us. And today we're very excited to have with us the famous, the amazing, the super ultra duper runner, Abayomi Ogunjobi. Many of you know him as Yopstar, and he'll be talking to us about your pace, your distance, your why. Before I bring him on, I'll just take a moment to also read his biography, which I guess is like a mini version of his biography. Let's put it up now. Here we go. Abayomi Ogunjobi Yobsta, thank you so much again for joining us. Our guest today is a recreational runner, marathon runner, running content creator, and advocate for sustainable endurance training. And through his platform, he shares his journey to inspire everyday runners to embrace consistency, patience, and discipline. He's passionate about making running accessible, and Abayomi believes running is more than race times, more than race day. It's a vehicle for personal growth and for becoming a better version of yourself. All of this is what he'll be sharing with us today as we get on with the topic, your pace, your distance, your why. Bayomi's next big race is going to be I think we spoke and he mentioned he's going to do the Copenhagen Half Marathon, but maybe that's not a big race for someone like him. But he's training for the 2026 Berlin Marathon, and that will be in the second half of September. And he is very focused on continuing to inspire a young, growing community of people through the power of consistency. Please, using your emotions, using the charts, please make welcome, very welcome, our guest for today, Abayomi Ogunjobi, aka Yobstar. Abayomi, welcome. Thanks a lot and indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much, Shay. I don't know, can you guys hear me clearly?
Crystal clear. Yes, we
Yeah,
hear
thank
you.
you very much. You introduced me as famous. I'm famous. I'm not famous, right? I'm just I'm just ordinary guy, just living his life. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having
So I mean, one thing I love to do when I welcome people is as much as have your profile and I read it out, there's probably one or two things that might be missing and you want to share with us. So maybe we could start with that. Tell us a little bit
We're
about
losing your
yourself.
audio. I don't know if that's just me.
Oh, probably not you since you are not in Nigeria. I'm sorry I have to say that, but can you hear me now? Let's see. Hello? Is it better now? Do you hear me? Can anyone else hear me? I'll keep my eye on the
Is
chat.
that just me?
You're
I can't
famous.
I can't seem to hear anything.
We
Uh,
can hear you clearly,
okay.
presenter.
I can still hear you.
Okay, and by you, is
Oh,
it
okay.
Sheyi? Is it Abayomi? Or can
I
you hear
can
both of
hear
us?
Sheyi,
Shay.
We can hear you clearly, Sheyi.
Okay, Abayomi, so it's probably your audio that might be lagging. We'll give you a moment to see if you can fix that on your end. Thanks everyone for the making that clear. Dum. But yeah, Abayomi, if you hear us, we just wanted to like hear a little bit about you, something that's not on your profile that you want to share with us before we get into the conversation today. Okay, I think he is out now. I'll take time to look through the charts while we welcome him back again. Yeah, everyone agrees that he's famous. Let us make use of his time. He has a lot to cook. And then you could hear me. Great. You could hear both of us. Okay, but he's out. Let's see if he comes in a few minutes. But let's do it this way. Maybe one more icebreaker while we wait for Abayomi to join us again, if that's okay with you. Let's see. What's the longest distance you've ever run? How about that? I know some have done ultra marathons. Some last week did their first half marathon and were super excited. But let us know, what's the longest distance you've covered, that you've run or walked in? And no judgment here. 5K, Olajumo, tell the truth. The angels are watching. Avayomi, by the way, welcome. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm back. Yes, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
clearly. Sorry. I
Okay,
don't know. I
good.
just lost you for a moment.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Thank you. Let's see. While you were off, I was just using the chat to ask people what's the farthest they've covered, and I will keep my eye on the chat. But I'll come back to you here, Bayomi. So I was saying,
Yep.
what about you is not on your profile that you'd love to share with us?
There's quite a lot. So there's so much more about me than, what people see. And that's because I only recently came on social media,
Mm.
right? I've always lived a very private life until I think 2020, last year, 2026, right? After I ran Toronto Marathon, and then I'm like, running has changed my life so much that I shouldn't just, right? I should share it and hopefully be able to inspire people, right? So I would say the one thing that's not in my profile is I'm a father of two. I don't think that's on my profile. Yeah, I'm a father of two, and yeah, I think there's so much more, but I think that's just the one thing I would say that's not on my profile, and
In-
that's extremely sort of important in my running journey because being to juggle family life, it's been one thing that I've you know been a challenge, right? But then I've been able to find a way to walk around it, get the right support, and improve myself.
Interesting. And I guess another thing that is not on your profile is that the farthest you've run is 106 kilometers. Jeez. Or is that a typo?
No, no, that's not me. I've,
Oh, okay,
and
okay,
that's the
okay. I'm
interesting thing
mixing it
about.
up now. That's Ayobami and not Abayomi. Okay.
No, 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 that's not me. I've not run anything more than 50K, and I don't even think I'm ready to go that out again. Right? I'm not such a huge fan of ultras, so
Okay,
and that
good.
was just once.
Okay, super. All right, let's get started now. Thanks again for joining us. We're very excited to have you with us. And the first question, just to help you open up your thoughts and sharing with us about your pace, your distance, your why. What's your strongest why right now? What's the purpose? What's the value? What aspirations are really strong for you that make you go out there and run and make it, worthwhile?
Yeah, interesting. That for me, I would say my biggest why is becoming a better version of myself, right? Through consistency, dedication and discipline. And for me, that's like the foundation of, me getting up to say I want to run. And there are other things that sort of trickles down into that. And that's because running has basically helped me become a better person, right? And for me, I want to set good example to people around me. My siblings look at me and be like, Yomi, what, my family members, will everybody start running? And beyond just running, everybody wants doing things, doing hard, right? And, setting the example to people around me, setting the example to my kids, seeing me wake up every morning to run is something as for them that if you want to achieve anything in life, you need to come overnight. You need to just go and going. And the foundation to that set is actually rooted in, Galatians 6:9, right? And for me, when I started in continuously at the end of 2025 into 2026, that was one thing that resonated with me. I think I'll just paraphrase. It says, in doing good at the proper time, right? And just wait till when you would actually the harvest. Do not give up. And for me, it's giving up, right? And and since then, I've just working towards trying to achieve a goal and not waiting for that immediate result, right? Not giving up is extremely important. And that verse actually sort of aligns perfectly with running because you do not see immediate results, right? So if you're going into run with the point of, I want to be fast, this so time, you're gonna be disappointed, trust me, right? Because you would not see results, and there'll be times when things won't go as planned, and it just requires you to be continuing to do good, just like Bible says. And I've been able to apply. life. And that's like the foundation of my why. Continue to, in the right time, you would reap up. And, that requires you just being to that purpose or act that you, or whatever you can achieve.
That's really
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted for a sec. But could you share
Yeah.
that verse again? I think I find it really interesting when people connect, spirituality with also recreational running. But if you could share that chat, maybe in the
Yeah.
chat, the verse in the chat, it could be
So
useful for a
it's
few other
Galatians
people.
6:9. So
Good.
it's Galatians 6:9. It's let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we would reap the harvest if we do not give up. So
Hmm.
in doing good, for me personally, it was more about when I got into running, I was at the time in my life when I was looking for a breakthrough, but I needed to stay patient. I needed to learn patience, right? I needed to know that you need to be committed to doing that one thing before it comes. Results don't just come overnight. And that was, what struck me at that point in time. And it's the same way we're running, right? You need to continue to, you need to continue in that act. Results don't come overnight. And for me, that's something, and that's a solid foundation for my why. That is, that trickles down into everything that I do beyond running. Oh yeah, that's the name of beyond running, right? Even beyond running, right? My life, my career, right? The relationships that I have with people, right? My marriage, the relationship that I have with my kids, right? So yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Moving on quickly. Am I still audible? Do you still hear me clearly?
Yes, you are. You
Okay,
are,
good.
Kelly.
Moving on quickly, and I'm also very excited that Praise is in and ready to come in, my co-host, and she'll be coming in a sec. But I just wanted to ask this question to you, Yobstar. How often do you compare yourself, your journey, your progress, or the achievements you make here or there with that of others? And this was a question I asked earlier. And sometimes you're not comparing yourself because you are angry with yourself, but also maybe to see how much you can do than where you are. So if you have to be very honest with us, what has it been like comparing your journey, your progress with others, and how does this impact you and your running journey?
So that's a very tricky question, right? Because naturally, you want to like see your progress, right? You want to make comparisons with like, people that are in your circle. You want to analyze things, right? But I really don't believe in comparing, making comparisons. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe the right word would be that do you have people that I have people that I look forward to. I look at, I look up to them. I think that's the right word. So I don't make comparisons. I have people that I look up to. I have people that I look at that journey and I'm like, oh yeah, this is where I want to be. This is how, this is what I want to do. So I try to look at what they're doing, what they've done, right? One person that I really look up to, and is Floris Gimran, right? I've read his book. I follow him a lot, and I also follow Eric Floberg, right? So these are people that I look at them, and the first thing I look at is, what are your circumstances? Because we all have different circumstances, and that's why comparison can be really, really, not fair on yourself, right? We all have different journeys. And, this is something that has even been a part of my life before I started running, right? Because I've always believed that in life, we're all on different pathways, right? So you can't really compare somebody's chapter one to, your own chapter five. You really don't know what they are doing behind the scenes. You don't know their backgrounds. For me, my schedule is sort of different. I have a lot of things that I'm doing. I can't compare myself with someone who has much more time, right? And there's also the background, especially when it comes to running, right? There's this background that people really don't know and understand, right? There are people who have that athletic background. They probably, were active in high school, they were running, or they play football, right? Or they are gym bros. So I can't compare myself with people like that because they already have a base. I have my own base. I used to play soccer before I really started running, right? So I built that aerobic base, right? Even before I started running. So I can't really compare myself with someone who really, you know, it's just started running. That won't be fair on myself, right? Because I'll think that, oh, I'm making progress, when the other person is really just starting. So to answer your question, I often do not, and I do not at all. What I do is I have people that I look up to. I have people that, there'll be times I even try to, look at exactly what you're doing. How are they doing it? For example, Eric Floberg has 3 kids. And I'm like, dude, how do you do this? He's a 3:29 marathoner. I'm like, how? Right. But then looking at Eric has been running for 8 years to get to where he is now. Right. The only thing I can do is, okay, I'm in chapter 2 now. He's probably in chapter 8, right? So, okay, I'll go back to his chapter 2 and be like, okay, what did Eric do then? How did he get through all of the challenges he faced? How did he grow? So really that's it. And really, I talk about technology, I talk about Strava. It has really, made it easy for us to have access to information and data, right, for comparison. But I would say that we should use it in the right way. The right way means it should be as a tool to inspire you, right? It should be something that you want to say, how is this person doing this? This is my goal. When I started running, there's someone, he's also on this call, right? He's not using his name, Akinjide, right? Akinjide is someone when I started running, and I'm like, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be in the next few months. And trust me, I got there, right? And he is so proud of me. And I wasn't comparing, I was only looking up to Akin to say, yes, I want to get to this pace at a certain time, right? And that has helped me. And what did I do? I got close. We're close. We talk a lot, and we're buddies, right? How did you get here? He told me about his journey. He shared his experiences. So really, that's it. So I encourage you, don't compare yourself to anyone, right? What you should do is have people you look up to and communicate. Have that communication with them, converse with them. Right? I've had people reach out to me, yes, talk about running. I'm really very engaging, right? I would engage you, encourage you. I feel like that's really the best way to make progress, right? Have someone you're looking up to and not just comparing, because you want to, achieve this or achieve that. Looking up to them would be the best way to look at it.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I had a lot of work. Nice to meet you, Abayomi. I'm Praise. So I'm just gonna get
Pleasure.
in. Yeah. So before I ask the questions we prepared, I'd like to ask you something I've been thinking about whilst listening to you. Do you remember the moment running stopped just being exercise for you and started being a part of who you are? So you've given up different aspects of your identity so far, your faith, your family, your children, your partner. I'd love to know if you can remember that transition from I'm working out to something else.
Yeah, so I would say it was my third marathon, right? And I would say that for me, it took me a while to get to that level, and it was a very interesting transition, right? And at my third marathon, I think my first marathon I did it 4:52 in Lagos, and my second I did it 3:52. In those 2 marathons, it was just me. At that time, I had not been able to integrate my spouse and my kids into running, into what I'm doing. I was still figuring, I knew why I was running, but I was still figuring out myself. Right. I got into running to be able to clear and, figure out myself. And after the first two marathons, which happened in the space of 6 months, right, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm getting to figure it out now. So in my third marathon, it was the first time my kids actually got to see me running, right? And it was at that moment, that transition happened into everybody understanding that this is a we thing, right? It's now beyond just, just waking up. It's a way of our life. It is how now we're gonna see that, right? And it's so funny that the boys know when I have my long runs, the days when I'm probably not up there, like, what's up? Are you fine? That are you good? Are you no, I'm good. Right. So that's it. That's the transition into involving, my loved ones into it. And that's really helped me. And that's really where the growth has been for me personally, I would say. Right. Even though I've been able to shave off, I was able to shave off over an hour between my first and third marathon. For me, the progress has been the transition into involving my family into the journey, right? For example, I think I was telling she, um, we're all going to Berlin together for the race, and everybody's really looking forward to that. So that's really it for me. The fact that I'm able to, and for me, the benefit is that I'm able to train well. It's like a support system. They all work together to ensure that I sleep early. They know that I have to be in bed at this time. Everybody knows when I'm in the training block. It's like an ecosystem that works together, right, to achieve that goal. And, even during my last race, it was like it was a shared responsibility. Even when I did cross the finish line, everybody was happy. The boys were happy. They really understand that. They really understand what it is about, what it means to me. And, for me, that's the transition. And that's where now it's beyond just an exercise. Is more like something that we now do together.
Okay, I love hearing that. I'd love to know, have you ever ran with your kids?
Oh yeah, I think it was I think 3 weeks ago. It's their first race, right? So, yeah, really, and for me, fathers don't pay for them to have their first race. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm struggling to hear you. I don't know if anyone else heard that. I'm thinking you said a few weeks ago was the first run. Did anyone else hear?
Yes,
It was kind of breaking.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not the only
brother,
one.
can you hear me now?
You're breaking a little bit.
It's still breaking.
Might be network from whatever.
Yeah, but I hear
So I
you.
think basically, did you hear him?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
can
hear
you hear
you.
me clearly
But
now?
okay, yes, you're
Okay.
back.
Someone said they're proud of the MTN. Yeah. Sorry.
They are
Which country are you in?
glitches everywhere.
Which country are you in?
They are
Not that
glitches
we're throwing
everywhere.
shade.
I'm in Canada. Glitches
Oh,
everywhere.
well,
Trust me,
too
it
bad,
is
Canada.
everywhere.
You can learn from MTN right now. Okay, so yeah, so I think you basically said that you ran with your kids a few weeks ago, and that sounds fantastic. I love what you're saying about the having the whole ecosystem with the family. I think that's something that's interesting to hear because I remember the Lagos Marathon happened on Valentine's Day, and there was a lot of discussion between am I gonna leave and travel? And people were talking about, family and how difficult it was trying to, fit that together. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So my next question is not just what does success look like, but what's something you celebrate now that your younger self probably wouldn't have considered an achievement?
Interesting. So I think one thing I'm really big on is impact, right? And I'm gonna go back to why I started sharing my running journey, right? And one thing that I celebrate is the impact that I'm able to make, you know, on anybody, right? The fact that I'm able to inspire. Like there are people that would send me like a DM, I watched your video and that inspired me. Trust me, that is success to me. And I started before you came on by saying that I recently just came on the social media platform, right? I've been like living a private life for like most of my life, right? And one of the reasons why I made that choice was because running changed my life. And I just felt like there's someone out there that will be inspired by my journey and my story, right? And I started sharing my journey. So for me, success would be impact. And for me, and I always would like, I've always would like to say that beyond even running, right? Before I started running, I've always been big on impact. I've always been big on having that positive impact, on anyone around me. Success to me right now would be being able to inspire anyone to take on their goals, right? Because beyond running, there are a lot of things that we want to achieve in life, right? There's goals that we've set for ourselves, right? There are things that we want to do, right? So, and running has been a vehicle for me to achieving those goals. So being able to inspire somebody out there to take on something or to be disciplined, to be consistent in achieving their set goal for me is a huge success, I'll tell you.
Fantastic. If I could come in there, thanks, Praise, and welcome. Always lovely to have you around. Abayomi, you mentioned earlier that the farthest you've covered was 50 kilometers. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yep.
What was it like? Did you wake up and just run 50? Were you running for a cause? Was it with a group? What exactly?
Honestly, a few of them are here. I'm not sure they want to even, right? But no. I think it was in me. It's been one of the things that I've shown the people that I actually did that ultra, right? And it was in the my running. I started running at 2025, November 2025. I was preparing February 26 marathon, right? Oh, no, sorry, 2024, November 2025. I was preparing for February 2025 Bank Marathon, and I had my ultra in May or June. So correct me, it was in period, right? I think it was June, right? And for me, that was like 6 months with me being, band. It was with a group, a friend of ours had, something personally was running towards. And we all like decided to wake up at 12 a.m. to run an ultra. In fact, I remember clearly, you know, my security guys were like, "Oh, guy, are you okay?" It seemed like something was wrong with me to be leaving my house at 12 a.m. to run. They were almost holding me back. Guy, are you fine? Like, no, I'm good. So for me, it transformed my running journey because at that point I knew what my limits were, and that's one thing, that is very, very important. I'm getting into this running thing, not at this so not I'm not really, I didn't really have that athletic background, and I'm going into an ultra. So for me, it just helped set that limit in terms of what I can do, what I can achieve. It was a very interesting time. We spent, good times together with the group. We achieved it. And it's something I would always remember, right, in my running journey, because it shaped my limits, it shaped how I saw running, it shaped how and what I wanted to do going forward with running.
Praise, you can take it up from there.
Okay, so I was just thinking, since people already have questions early, maybe we should into a couple of
There are
questions.
questions already.
Yes, someone's had their hand up, but no name for a while. So I will call on that person so that he can open up the question and answer session, or her. Samsung SMA065F.
Samsung should rename.
If Samsung does not reply us, we will move on because Godwin is ready. Okay, Samsung, we'll come back to you when you're ready. So Godwin, please go ahead.
Good day, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
I hear you.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Praise.
Yes,
Always
we can hear you.
a pleasure to see your face. Hi, Abayomi. Thank you for sharing so
Hi,
far.
Prof.
There's no prof here today, please. This is Godwin Henry speaking. I have two questions, right? One would be a follow-up to, I think it was Praise that asked it, which is she talked about your younger self and your present self. I wanted to flip that question a bit around two things your earlier self did in your journey that you felt was important, that at this stage you've seen it's not really important, relevant or useful, and you had to just let go of that. That would be one. And the second part is going back to the constituency that concerns me. I like when people who have families, particularly children, share about their running journey and how they moved, that curve. It always sounds easy, but we know in reality, it's really not. So, like trying to understand what that journey really was for you. What were some of the lessons that you learned that you feel people should be aware of? Maybe people who they already have families, or people in committed relationships, because at the end of the day, running does play a role, because for you to run by 4 a.m., it means you need to sleep at least by 9 p.m. And to sleep by 9 p.m. means you have to shut down by 8 p.m. So like there's a whole lot of numbers that go in. So those are my two questions for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Godwin. So the first question I would say is, now one thing I've really learned, right? One thing I've changed is just taking it easy with myself. If you follow me on Strava or you've seen me run, I think it's so easy. And that's extremely important in how sustainable you can be with running, because I want to do this for a very long time. And I remember when I started, I was going like really so fast, right? And it was very unsustainable. So one thing that I do more now is just I run easy, I take it easy. And that's the only way I can build mileage, especially to prepare adequately for the races that that I signed up for. I've learned that, easy does it. Easy does it. And since I've started doing that consistently for close to a year now, I've seen progress. It's also, it's also applicable in life, right? Just take it easy on yourself, right? You can't really, progress does not come overnight, and you would burn out if you keep going too fast every day. You would burn out, right? So that's one critical thing I've changed. Like, take it easy on yourself. Your other question, to be honest, the only way I've been able to navigate, and you're right, it's actually not easy. To trust me, like it looks easy on the face of it. It's really not easy. And for those who are very close to me, you know that, and especially in the part of the world where I am, you really have no support. You have to do everything yourself. When I was in Lagos, it was much easier, right? There was help, uncles, cousins, mommy, it was easier, right? But now here it's even more difficult. But the critical thing for me, the secret has been, having my wife's 100% buy-in to what I'm doing. That's it, right? Trust me. She doesn't have to run. She's not a runner, but she understands running. She's on my Strava. She sees my stats. We analyze it together. We talk about it. She's into it. And I think it's just one of my races that, aside from my first race and then London, she's been in all of those races. Like, she's my number one fan. Like, if you see her on the course, you'll be like, who is this? Right. So so that's it. Like, with her buying, because people say, trust me, women have a very, very strong hold on the home, right? And they
Please, whoever is holding
We've lost you.
Abayomi's
We've lost
volume,
you. We
release
can't hear
it.
you, Abayomi. We can't hear you.
The
I'll
thing
mute
hits
you and
play
ask you
fits
to
today.
unmute.
Come on, video.
Let me ask you to
Bami,
unmute.
please, we lost you. Can you take? We stopped last when you said your wife was on the course. That other part, analyzing stats together. After that, I lost you. I know they hear you.
Can you hear us, Abayomi? No, we can't hear you. You're speaking, but we can't hear you. This is a sign. People that don't want you to speak about these issues, they've taken hold of your mic. We still can't hear you. Can you check your audio? Okay, he's out. Let's see if he's able to join again. But we have about 10 minutes to go. I have one more question for Abayomi when he comes back. Deontino Sport also has a question. But while we wait for Abayomi to come back, I'm just looking through the chats and all the very fun comments following Abayomi's thoughts around the support he gets
I'm
from
back
his wife.
now.
Yes, and your mic is
I'm back.
back. Welcome.
I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't know. I've been in a number of calls and this does not happen. I don't know. For some reason, it's just, I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know when last you guys lost me, but yeah, the critical thing has been the support for my wife. Trust me, like, it is 100%. When I'm like, I have a race, all my races are on like the calendar, like on the family calendar. She knows all of the races and she's like, I have a race. She'll be like, okay, yes, oh yeah, oh yes, oh yes. Like, so we're already planning like my race for next year. She's like, oh yes. So for me, that's like big, that's a big deal. Trust me, like, that's a big deal. And because, I also said that, like, you would actually, the power and a woman has in the house, you can never underestimate it, right? So she's been able to, have the children into that goal too as well. So it's like a common goal, right? And that's why I talked about the fact that we're all going to Berlin together. It's like a family thing. The boys are looking forward to it. They keep asking me, when is your race? I'm like, I told you, right? So it's like having that buy-in from her has really transformed really my running. Trust me, it's really transformed my run. So I see my progress. I see the wins, not just about me, but like it's more of like a joint thing now. So I hope I've been able to answer Godwin's question, but the cocoa is just get a buy-in 100%. And trust me, one thing I see is people trying to get their spouse to run in. Oh no, she doesn't have to run. He doesn't have to run, right? And I have friends who have their spouse, their husband does not run, but then they get him to be in those races to support them. And it's really interesting and fun when you guys do it together, not necessarily having to run together, but being in the process. It's interesting, and trust me, it's transforming.
Okay, great. So we do have like maybe two more questions, but because of time, let's take Deontino Sport first because you were waiting.
Okay.
And people in the comments, please just calm down. The God went people, please just, God's got your back. He already gave us some Galatians, don't be wary.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. We hear
Hi, good
you.
evening.
Okay. So, welcome, Mr. Bayomi, aka Yofstar. Please, they've been on my mind for long, and this platform and this meeting gives me the opportunity to ask this question. First, how can home-based distance runner improve their time, their marathon time? 21K, 42K, 5K, 10K, both races are marathon. Then, second question would be very critical. You advise us, do you think we would have a Nigerian home-based or foreign-based that one day would be able to meet the Olympic cutoff time and represent Nigeria amongst other nations in an Olympic game in marathon? Thank you.
Okay, the Antino Sports. What's your name actually? Because I know you as the Antino Sports. I want to know your first name, please. Okay, I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I just want to be sure that I'm still audible.
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
hear you.
Okay, bro. So let me answer your question, and I'm going to answer it I would answer the two of them together because I understand where you're coming from. What I'll say is that location does not limit anybody. There are no boundaries to making progress or achieving whatever you want to achieve, right? I remember I had this conversation in my running group where they're like, oh, you're fast because where you are, because of the weather and all of that. See, there's no limitation to whatever you can achieve, right? And I gave this example. When I was preparing for my second marathon, I trained in Lagos. I was in Lagos. I, practically trained in Lagos. And that was after my 452 in February 2025, right? And then in May, I did it 352. That was like 1 hour training in Lagos, right? And what I used to do, because I'm a morning person, I wake up very before the sun is out, very, very easy. And it's where you are, whether you're home or anywhere. And trust me, anybody can do anything, right? I keep saying it, nothing is impossible because you're consistent, you know exactly what you want to achieve it. So just set a goal, set a plan, and walk around and the weather, walk around what even works best for you. And one of the realization and one came up in that conversation in my running group is that we have the advantage because of our weather, right? The heat sort of gives you the advantage because you're able to acclimatize into any other environment. So location, limit, whatever you achieve. So that's my question, bro.
Okay, so we just have another question that was a follow-up to the family question before we close. What happens if the partner burns out or just says no? Like, do you just go on, or what would you recommend they do? Just in 1 minute.
It goes back as I started with. Keep going. Consistency, just keep it. Right. There will be a time when that realization, right? You to force anybody into what you're doing, right? The thing about running is that running speaks for itself. The example and thing that comes out of you as a runner is to see and to be like you or want to emulate. The example that you show, you can't be a runner and not be disciplined. If you're a runner, you lack discipline, you lack consistency, you're not becoming a better person. So if you're running, personally, the goal is to become a better person, right? That example, that result will show in your life. People will see it and want to emulate whatever you're doing. So trust me, continue at what you're doing. Someday she would see it and definitely appreciate your effort.
Thank you so much. This has been a fantastic session. Just a few notes from mine that I took away from that is that instead of just having people that you have online that as like a mentor, not a mentor, but have people that you look up to and like see what you're exactly they're doing. And you started sharing because of impact, which was very interesting, even though you didn't have an athletic background initially. So you reminded us about progress not coming overnight, and easy does it was your quote. And I loved hearing about, how you navigate with children and the committed relationship and running. So I'm going to pass back to Sheyi to close. But thank you so much, Abayomi. We have enjoyed this session, especially the family session, family advice specifically, it seems in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Praise. And I'm just picking it up from there to say extra and many thanks to you, Abayomi, for sharing with us your time. I really do appreciate it. I'm mindful of the time, trying to keep it within 1 hour. So I want to say thanks to everyone who has joined us. And I think it's worked really well on Zoom. Before now, we used to meet on Google Meets, and I hope that we can continue meeting on Zoom for the meantime. We'll evaluate and see which one works best. But I want to say big thank you to you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. I hope that all of these thoughts that has been shared by Abayomi will stay with you, will probably be very valuable motivation to you. Maybe those of you that are thinking of taking a rain check on tomorrow's run, you've gotten some aspire to aspire, and you can go out there and be a better version of yourself. But Abayomi, before I let you go, any last words from you?
Trust me, if there's anything I would want to leave anybody with is, don't chase the finish line, right? For those who are very close to me, I'm very big on journey, right? Whether it's running, whether it's your career or business, the greatest reward is not the destination. It is the person that you become while you're pursuing it, right? Because that's where really transformation happens. So focus on the journey, enjoy and embrace the journey, and don't be focused on the destination.
Thank you so much. What a way to call it a wrap. We'll meet again the third Friday of next month, August. I think it's the 21st of August. And we have a speaker. We'll share all the details on our Instagram page, Mindful of Time. But if you also want to speak on subsequent session, if you want to share any thoughts with us, or if you want us to be part of anything you're doing to encourage people to go beyond running and find the beauty and the values and every other thing that they hold, that is within them, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram. Our email is also beyondrunningng@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to engage further with you all. I just want to say a very big thank you again, Abayomi. Thank you, Praise, for co-hosting these. Thank you, Ola, for doing all the groundwork on the other side. And many thanks to all of you that have joined us today. Wishing you all the very best, great weekend ahead. And I hope to see many of you again, 21st of August. Until then, take care now. We'll share the recorded clips on Instagram, so one way or the other. O1V, that's a response to your question. All right, thank you, everyone. Good night.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good day, everyone.